PsychicMyst Paranormal Network.
Hi, this is Shar with PsychicMyst Paranormal Network and Elite Paranormal Specialists. The video that I have for you today is part 3 of the Haitian Voudon experiment. And it started out with the Master of the Void, and we got some really interesting entities, and I've been working with those entities and questioning them. The experiment has progressed quite nicely. I've gotten a lot of positive captures on this particular experiment, and like I said, we've learned a lot, so I want to share that with you. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, you might want to check them out. They're pretty awesome. So let's get started. Just want to give you a quick refresher. The Haitian Voudon experiment started out with me wanting to contact the Master of the Void. And I didn't specify whether I wanted the light or dark void, but the Master of the Dark Void came through, and he was pretty nasty, pretty volatile. So other entities came through with him. I chose 6 of those entities to start speaking to and to try to learn from them. And I started making discoveries that it almost appeared like there was a new species of being that was presenting itself to me, and these were beings that came through the void. There also seemed to be another species of being that came through as well, but ones that I was aware of that were kind of crashing the experiment too. So this is an awesome experiment. I did not make contact with the Master of the Void for this particular experiment. I wanted to leave him out of this one. He's just too nasty, and the threats he made were something not to take very lightly. Don't try to contact the Master of the Void. I may contact him again sometime down the line, but not right now. Right now I have my hands full with these guys. So let's see what happened with this experiment. Normally don't record me doing this part of my experiments because I always thought maybe it would be boring for the viewer to see. But I've been finding more and more people want to know what I'm doing, so I decided that I'd include a little bit more than I normally do. So this is my second follow-up with my Haitian Voudon experiment, where I've called in several entities that came in. I didn't call them in at first. I wanted to see who came. I worked with the Master of the Void, however, he was a little volatile and not the friendliest. Actually, this is too big. So I did get some really interesting entities that came through, and now I am going to call them back for a second time. I got some new ones. So what I'm actually doing here is I pre-made a sigil, and all the tools that I work with, everything that you see me working with has been enchanted. I took the time to do that. It makes things more strong and powerful. I also created a sigil that will make my call to these entities stronger. So that is what you see me doing now. I am tracing the sigil that I'm going to charge. And once it's charged, it will become more powerful. I might have screwed that up a little bit. Let's see. I got a basic outline. I should have made it bigger, but it's good. And once I have this, like I said, I'm going to charge it up. So there's several entities that I want to call on tonight. The first round of entities, I got 6 of them, plus the Master of the Void. And then when I went through that evidence, I got several more very interesting entities. Okay, so now we are ready to charge this. So I need to make an adjustment here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I have a plasma ball. And I don't suggest that you do this at home. Sorry, I have all my equipment out that you see over here. Because you could get shocked doing this, and you don't really want to get shocked. I use special things to make sure I don't get shocked. So I'm just going to let that sit there for a moment. And while that is charging up, I will be right back. So I went and filled up, well, I didn't fill it up, but I added water to my bowl because I am going to use a water medium. And I am also going to use some of this. This is something that has been something I've been using from the very first experiment, and I've been using it with the last two as well. Add that to my water. This here will magnetize more of the spirits to me. So I just charged this water with EM waves, electromagnetic waves, and the substance inside will act as a conductor. The bowl is an insulator. And now we will finish charging up what we'll call in the spirits even stronger. So watch this. I think you'll find it pretty cool. Like I said, don't do this unless you have, you see how there's a little lightning in between it. Electricity's coming from it. So we want to charge this up. This will shock you. It's not shocking me because I've protected myself against it. Believe me, I've been shocked by this before. It hurts. Working around my camera, but I thought you might like to see this. You can even hear it too. I'll put my camera close, see if maybe you can hear it. Problem is I'm not left-handed, so hold on. Hear that? And you notice too that when I charge it, or when I touch it with my instrument here, the rest of the waves here, the little lightning things, they all come up more concentrated. But I think that should do. So at this point, I lit some candles and started the summoning of the 6 entities that I wanted to speak with. I didn't include any more of the procedure. I didn't know if you would want to see more. So let me know in the comments if you would like me to put a little more of what goes on behind the scenes in than I already have. So after the summoning of the entities, and they did come in, I asked some EVP questions, tried to get some pictures, tried to get proof that they were there, and I have these results for you coming up next. So this being the Master of the Void second follow-up, which is the 3rd experiment, the purpose of this experiment was to question the entities from the first follow-up and to get information about the discovery of a new race of beings. Proving the suspicion that these beings were somehow connected with another race of beings, the Squask, was also a big purpose. Finally, obtaining technical information on making improvements to my experimental techniques and methods was also a big objective. The date and location was Saturday, May 21st, 2022 at my home paranormal lab. The equipment I used was a single EM generator, thermal imager, thermal array, S-box, 2 computers, Perlin noise, and a Tesla coil. The methods I utilized were EQZ spirotechnology, symphonic imprint, Permisi EVP, S-box, and Spectracom. I have obtained to date 36 EVPs, 6 Perlin images, 53 EQZ images, and 10 array responses. These may be added to in the near future for this particular follow-up experiment. So let's jump in with some really cool EVPs. This is the entity that the following 3 EVPs comes from. Can you tell me what kind of entity are you? What can you tell me about your world? Can you give me your name? The next 4 EVPs comes from this entity who calls himself Lindy. Are you here with me? What is your name? Are you human? What's the name of your world called? And this entity provided the following 3 EVPs. Are you with me? What world do you come from? Did you come through the void? The next 2 EVPs are from this entity. Are you good or an evil being? Are you the same being as in the next picture? Yes. This long-headed being left 2 EVPs. The one in number 11. Can you give me your name? You can also leave me a picture of you using this screen. So returning back to this entity again, here are 3 more EVPs from her. So the woman who was in the first picture with the blue picture, how can we make the communication between us better? What message do you have for me? Three more EVPs from this guy. The one that says, Lindy, are you here and can you say your name for me? What did I do that attracted you to come here to me? Do you have a message for me? And now we're back to this lady who left the following 4 EVPs. What is your name and where do you come from? Why did you come to speak with me today? Do you have a message for me? Is your name Tina? And now we're back to this guy here. This guy got my attention more than most of the entities, and I think he is the one who actually is helping me with a lot of my technological advances, and he has a connection with the Squask because the Squask sought him out. So here are 12 more EVPs from him. Can you please tell me what your species is and where do you come from? Are you some kind of a shapeshifter? If you are, can you shapeshift into a human and live on this planet? Are you a species that watches over this planet? Are you both the same race, the same species that come from the same place? Do you mean me or any of my species any harm? What kind of being are you? What is your species called? Where do you come from? Where is your planet or realm located? How can I make communication between us better? Would a mirror or portal opening to your world make things easier for us to communicate? Would this be the way to go? Would you be willing to work with me more so I could learn more about your species and where you come from? What is it that I did that brought you here to me today? Thank you for coming. So just a quick FYI, every EVP that I put into these videos has some type of significance, either to the experiment or to myself, even if it doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense to you. And I would have to really explain each one, which would take up a whole lot of time. So if you have any questions about any of the EVPs, you can feel free to ask in the comments. But I just wanted to let you know they do have significance toward what I'm doing. So just a brief synopsis of the EVPs. There was a human entity that was mixed in with some of these other beings, but there were also some very varying responses, contradictory ones as well, and threatening ones. They are malevolent beings, these long-headed beings. It seems like this is a race of beings that presented themselves to me. I call them the long-headed beings because I didn't know what else to call them, but I got the word Ropayans twice, so I am going to start calling them the Ropayans. Also, I think that it's safe to say that the Squask, which is another race of beings that came through for me several years ago, are also involved with these particular beings, and I think that the Squask sought out the Ropayans because they've been trying to work with me for a long time. But the work that the Squask want me to do is to sell souls. And I really am not into selling souls, so I turned that down. However, they're now trying to work with the Ropayans to get me on their side. And just one more thing I want to say here. I know some of this might sound confusing because the Squask is something I really haven't put too much out on YouTube yet about the other race of beings. Sometimes I called them the mask face beings. I do have something that you could watch on my YouTube to kind of give you an idea of what that is, but I will be putting out that story very soon. It's long and complicated, but it is probably one of the most amazing paranormal things that I have ever been involved in 40 years. So let's move on now. I used my thermal array to try to get the Ropayans to let me know that they were here via visual effects. What the thermal array does. If they stand in front of the array or somewhere near it and move, the sensors will move with that. So I did get some positive sensor results with the thermal array. So let's check that out now. Again, I have my thermal array, and I'm asking the entities that I called in today, can you sit in my chair? I'm a little far away from you right now, so let me take a step or two closer. Could you move your arms or move your body if you're in my chair so I could see that movement? So all you have to do is just stand in front of this for just a moment, and this will just let me know that you're here. I'll walk around the room a little bit. Oh, somebody was there in the corner. There's nothing in front of me. See? Could you do that again? See, it didn't hurt, right? You were standing there and nothing happened to you. This is a very... There we go. We have something going on there. Thank you for doing that. See, it doesn't hurt. Could you touch it? If you do, a sound will happen, but it won't hurt you. The blue in the corner is going off. Now I'm just turning around. Oh, there you go. Here a little more. So could you sit in my chair then, or at least stand by it? Nothing there? Maybe a little bit. I'm not going to get any closer than this. I am pretty close. Just, there are fluctuations here. Now this kind of sensor for this particular instrument, if there's nothing there, nothing will happen. The lights just stay green. Each of these little sensors work separately. So it looks like over here is more the area that they feel comfortable in. As you can see, there's nobody around. Alright. So it was really great when these entities decided to give me a positive response, or several of them, with the thermal array. And the thermal array, like I said, the sensors won't do anything unless there's something it's picking up. And it doesn't just go around picking up EMFs. So it's not like if I'm too close to, you know, a TV or some outlet that they're going to go off. So these entities have to be right there with it. And if they get extra close, there's actually an alarm that sounds. and that's pretty much when you just about are right on top of it. We didn't have that, but they did make some contacts. That was pretty nice. I was very happy with that. This discovery of the Ropayans, the whole entire Haitian Voudon experiment all started out with EQZ, which is a method that I have made throughout the years to make contact, visual, especially visual contacts with the entities. So I have more EQZ pictures for you now from this experiment. So those EQZ pictures were certainly amazing. The pictures that came out, some of those images were definitely long-headed beings, and there were several. And there were also some mass-based beings, the Squask. So this goes to verify my objectives about the new species that I was suspicious about, which were the Ropayans now, and that indeed the Squask does have something to do with all of this. So that's some pretty good verification there. There were also many otherworldly beings that came out, as well as some interesting looking creatures that you will not find here on Earth, or would we? I mean, the Squask did say that they do have stations around Earth. So I think that more and more people are starting to feel that these beings, not necessarily just the Squask, but the other extraterrestrial life or other types of dimensional beings may be here with us. And I would say that that is the case, but that's another story. So we got some really great verification, great EVPs, and some really good EQZ spirit technology pictures. So I'd say this was a win. And I just have a couple more pictures for you. These are a little bit different. They're not EQZ pictures. They are pictures that were created using Perlin noise. And these are really hard to get images from this, but a couple came out, so I think you'll find them quite interesting. Here they are. And as you just saw, one of these beings was a long-headed being. I will now refer to them as the Ropayans. So this was part 3 of the Haitian Voudon experiment with the Ropayans. There is more to come. I am doing more experimentations with these beings, and hopefully I'll be able to meet our new objectives. Stay tuned. Next is my conclusion and the end of the video. I thank you for support. Please like and subscribe if you like my work. I know it's not your typical ghost channel. It's research and experimentation to dig for the pressing questions of life and what we're made of, and yeah, all the paranormal. It's all within the normal. So here, stay tuned for my conclusion. So in summary, the experiment had varying results, especially the EVP section. Several entities came through, and there was validation of a previous entity, Lord Vellum. Not much was mentioned to help me advance my work, but what was said did prove to be useful. There was some contradiction in answers, and several of those responses did verify that there is a connection with the Squask. EQZ spirit technology showed that the Squask was indeed present. There were references that took on the tone of malevolency from both the long-headed beings, now referred to as the Ropayans, and the Squask. At this time, it is very likely that these experiments are proving the existence of a new race of beings. My objectives for the next experiment is to confirm even further that this is a discovery of a new race of beings, the Ropayans. To get further useful information to advance my paranormal invention and further parascience technology. Obtain more specific information about these beings as a species. To discover why the Squask obtained the assistance of the Ropayans. I am suspicious that they forcefully persuaded the Ropayans to do their bidding and work with them to accomplish their goals concerning my experiments. So just a few notes here. The Master of the Void is no longer included in this experiment as he is too volatile to work with, and I may consider contacting him again in the future at some other time. EVPs from this session were mysteriously missing again, and a repeat session needed to be conducted, which was accomplished successfully 2 days following the experiment on May 23, 2022. I know that the Squask is involved with these beings. I feel that there may have been a couple of ghostly strays among the entities called upon, such as Peter Branton and the entity number 9 that said he did not come from the void. This is Cher with PsychicMyst Paranormal Network and Elite Paranormal Specialist. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.